What's up, guys? It has been literal months since I've uploaded. Last time I uploaded was probably 3-4 months ago, and I wanted to just say I hope you guys had a very good Christmas, good New Year, whatever other holidays I missed. I hope you guys had a good one. And as you can see, we're back with the tier lists. I wanted to get back into uploading again, so we're just going to do the NFL quarterback seasonal review for the 2024-2025 season. So I'm not even going to do any sort of intro. Let's just get right into it. The tiers that we have right here: elite for the most elite players, really good, decent, pretty, not bad. We got mid, ass, and then we have super ass. So why don't we just get right into it? First up, we have Aaron Rodgers. I'd say he was decent. He wasn't bad. I don't think, the team record really shows like the true story with him. I don't really think he's going to be a Jet next year, but I don't think he was bad. He threw up some decent numbers. He's old, but, I think he could go to a team. He could still be a good player. Next, we have Aiden O'Connell. He was pretty mid. I actually don't think he's complete ass, even though, a lot of people think he is, especially compared to the other quarterbacks that were in that room this year. I actually think he was the best quarterback in the Raiders quarterback room this year. I don't think he's good by any means, but I do think he's mid, and, he'll be just a career backup, forever mid, but it's okay. Now, speaking of someone who actually is ass, we have Anthony Richardson. Now, I don't know if I want to put him in super ass or ass, but I think I'm just going to put him in ass. I don't think he's complete super ass, but he is pretty fucking terrible. I mean, he is really not good. He is extremely inconsistent, running, passing, checks himself out of games, literally can't even finish a full game. I mean, he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He is literally I believe there was a record at some point where he was the most inaccurate quarterback for a specific niche category, but that's already telling in and of itself. He was horrible this year. He got benched 4 times for Joe Flacco, of all people. Who do we got next? Baker Mayfield. I don't want to say elite. I think he was really good this year. The only reason I don't put him in elite is because of all the turnovers, all the interceptions. I believe he led the league in interceptions. He either led or he was tied for leading. There were some other guys in here who might have had more, but he was definitely top 3 in interceptions, and that's not elite ball game. So can't really give him that, but he is really good. I like Baker. I've always rooted for Baker, even when he was on the Browns. But he was good this year. He did good. Even though he was a first round exit, I won't take anything from him. Next, we got Bo Nix, and Bo Nix, I would say really good. I considering who he's throwing to, and he's throwing to absolute shitters outside of Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin every few games. He was really good. He's a great rusher. He's a great passer. He's a great leader. He seems to lead his team well, and I think that's probably their franchise guy. You build around him, and boom, there you go. That's a championship team. They got a great defense. They got a good O-line, good pass game, good run game. I think they should get a receiver in the draft or someone similar if there's one available, a good one at that round. But once they fix that problem, this is easily an 11, 12, 13 win team if played right. We have Brock Purdy, and this year, I would say he was just decent this year. He's not bad. I can't call him mid or even ass or anything like that. He's like Rodgers, he's just a younger version of Rodgers this year. He was just put up decent numbers, didn't have a good record, but it's not really on him, to be honest. There was a lot of injuries. That team was basically a hospital, so I wouldn't even really put all the blame on Purdy. Next, we have Bryce Young, and even though I would say he played really good at near the end of the year, you have to consider the beginning to the middle of the year and everything after that. I can't put him higher than mid. I'm not going to say he was horrible. He wasn't horrible this year by any means, but he started out horrible, got benched. Andy Dalton got in a car crash. He came back, and then he started to kind of simmer up a little bit and kind of, heat up. And he did play well near the end, but I really can't say he was decent or really good or anything like that. Now, someone who is definitely decent is the next person on here, Caleb Williams. Played great for a rookie. The fact that he's not in the Rookie of the Year conversation or in the finalists, that's insulting, and that's actually crazy to me that he's not in that category because he did play super well, especially for being for the fucking Bears. He's literally the Bears quarterback. I mean, what do you expect from him? He's not Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? Obviously the record could have been better, but again, I would like to say with Purdy, with Rodgers, not entirely on him. The O-line was ass. The coaching was ass. The coordinators were ass. Given him another year with Ben Johnson, I think he's going to turn out really good. CJ Stroud, this year, he was decent. Obviously there was regression from his rookie season, but It's not like he was horrible. It's not like he was leading the league in interceptions or anything like that. I mean, he lost a lot of players. His O-line was even probably worse than Caleb's. Horrible O-line. Couldn't hold on to the ball at all, and honestly, I'm not going to hate on him too much. He's decent. He's good. I think he's going to do better next year when all his receivers are back. Besides Tank Dell, I don't even think he's going to be playing next year. Next, we have Dak. And again, we're doing this just based off of this year. I should have prefaced this in the beginning. So for that reason, I am going to put him in mid. I mean, he wasn't horrible, but even when he was playing, he played like 8, 9, 10 games, and he really didn't put up astounding numbers. I mean, he had a losing record before he got hurt, so really, it was definitely just a down year for Dak. It was a down year for the Cowboys. Honestly, I would say Cooper Rush played probably better than him this year. I mean, obviously, that's not saying he's a better player in general than Dak, but I mean, this year, I would say Cooper Rush played way better than Dak this year. Now, we got our first super ass, and that's Daniel Jones. This guy was fucking dog shit this whole year. Gets cut by the Giants, and then gets banished off to Minnesota. We never see him again, and we probably won't see him again. I doubt he's going to be a starter for any NFL team this season. Or, I'm sorry, next season. God, he was so bad. And as a fan of the Giants, as a huge Giants fan, for a decades-long Giants fan, it was not very fun to watch him play. I really didn't like watching him play. But, you know, it is what it is, and I really can't get that mad at it. Alright, next up we have Derek Carr, and honestly, Derek Carr, I would say he was pretty mid. I mean, he got injured, he missed a lot of time, but his numbers were okay. He started off really good, and then obviously he simmered down, kind of got heated again, and then he got injured. So I can't really say too much for him, but I also can't really say much against him. Speaking of super ass, that's where Deshaun Watson's going to end up because he was horrible this year. Got an Achilles injury, I believe, and he might have been worse than Daniel Jones. That's an achievement, really, if you ask me. I didn't think that was possible, but you know, when you're Deshaun Watson, anything's possible, right? Drake May, he was mid. He was alright, but like, you know, I mean, like obviously, I think he's an amazing runner, but at the same time, his throwing wasn't exactly the best. He was just slinging the ball for anyone to get. To be honest, I don't really see him as an amazing prospect. I think, you know, I think he'll turn out to be pretty good, but I imagine him kind of like a Mac Jones inconsistency type of player. I just don't see him really panning out to be that good. But this year, he was okay. He was alright. He was mid. He was alright. Highs, some lows, probably more lows than highs, but he was alright. Last person we're probably gonna put in super ass is Gardner Minshew. He was the worst out of this three right here. No, oh my God, he started like 4 games, right? I mean, he got injured, I believe, and they had him in for a few games here and there, but he was awful. He was so fucking bad. He was just not good at all. I believe he got a win against the Ravens. That was like his only win, I think. I correct me if I'm wrong. Next up, we do have Geno Smith, and again, this is a guy I believe who did nearly lead the league in interceptions. But I'm still gonna put him in decent. I mean, he's getting old. He's not gonna lead the Seahawks to a championship. But I don't want to say he's terrible. I think he'll make a good mentor QB to a lot of teams. I think, you know, he could mentor a young quarterback, because I do believe, as you guys saw in my draft predictions, I do believe that the Seahawks are going to take a quarterback on day 2. Whether it's Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, someone like that. I think he's going to be kind of that mentor figure to whoever comes into the Seahawks, but he's not going to be the one to lead them to a championship. Next up, we do have Jacoby Brissett. I'm going to put him in regular ass. He was pretty bad. I mean, he got a win over the Bengals week 1, and I think that might have been his only win, or maybe he got another win. I'm not entirely sure. He was kind of ass. I mean, he was all right. He holds onto the ball well. He throws the ball okay, but he really can't get it downfield like the other QBs can. Next up, we do have Jalen Hurts, and his passing numbers were really low this year. He didn't pass the ball at all, but I'm still going to put him in decent just because of, like, you know, you have Saquon Barkley on your team. So, I mean, when the dude's rushing for 200 yards a game, you use him, not Jalen. Jalen's not going to have to pass the ball a lot. So I can't really, like, take much from him, but I think he did good this year. Obviously, you want to include the postseason. He's in the Super Bowl, and unlike the Chiefs, I actually do believe that the Eagles really did earn their spot, even though they had a lot of flaky wins. They had a lot of questionable circumstances. I still think he played well. Next, we have Jared Goff. I'm not going to put him in elite. He's really good. He was really good this year. He played amazingly. And I just don't think that the end of the year really helped his case for being elite. He started off the year a little shaky, like first 2 games, 3 games, he was pretty shaky. Then he became elite, absolutely elite, and then he kind of simmered down. And then obviously in the playoffs, they got second rounded. They didn't even win a playoff game. They were the 1 seed and then got knocked out by the Commanders. So I really can't say too much good near the end for him. I can't put him up in elite. It's just not possible. However, someone who I am going to put in this elite tier is Jaden Daniels. Absolutely elite this year. He's just a rookie, and he was doing the things that he was doing. He had the amazing streak of wins. I believe they went 12-5 in the regular season, went to the playoffs, beat Tampa Bay on the road, beat the Lions on the road. Obviously, they got stumped out by the Eagles, but that's a tremendous achievement. And the fact that he did all that as a rookie on a Washington Commanders team where you're, no disrespect to Scary Terry, but outside of him, their top receiving option was probably Zach Ertz, maybe Noah Brown. So, with that being said, the fact that he did that with that roster and a pretty mediocre mid-defense, I have to give him his flowers. He is absolutely elite. We're going to put JJ over here because he didn't even play this year. Next up, we have Joe Burrow. Elite. Absolutely elite. 44 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Damn near led the Bengals with one of the worst defenses in the league to a 9-8 record. Absolutely elite. If he had made the playoffs, unanimous MVP. No question about it. Jordan Love. I would say he was really good this year. I don't want to pretend like he wasn't. He was super good this year. Like obviously he still got first rounded out of the playoffs, but so did Baker, so did Jared Goff, so did Bo Nix. They all got first rounded, but throughout the regular season, he played absolutely amazingly. Unfortunately, he did deal with some injuries, and I almost want to say if there weren't any injury concerns with him, I would have put him in elite. But because he missed like 4 or 5 weeks, I can't really put him up there. Josh Allen, absolutely elite. He carried the Bills to where they are. I feel like that was a 5-6 win team without Josh Allen. They lost Diggs. They lost Micah Hyde. They lost all their guys. Nobody thought that team was going to be as good as they were this year. They thought the Jets were going to be on top. Dolphins, they thought they were going to be on top. Absolutely not. It never even happened. Next up, we have Justin Fields. I'm going to say decent. I wouldn't say he's mid. He played really well. I believe he went 4 or 5-2 as a starter. Got benched. Maybe should have probably started for the playoffs because Russell Wilson kind of ran out of gas in his tank. So I honestly would have said probably, start Justin Fields and kind of keep him in the rest of the year. I think maybe the Steelers probably would have still gotten first rounded by the Ravens, but at least it would have been a better game, right? Justin Herbert, I almost want to say elite, but I'm going to put him in really good. And it's not because of the playoff game. It's just because Jim Harbaugh's offense, Justin Herbert was obviously not the player to look out for. He still can pass the ball super well. His receivers weren't very good. Top receiving option was probably Ladd McConkey, followed by Quentin Johnston. So I can't necessarily say his low passing numbers were because of him. It was mostly because of his receivers. But he threw that 4 interception game, which was more interceptions than he had in the regular season in one game, which you got to take that a little bit away from him. But I would still say he was an elite performer, but the numbers really don't do that justice, and I don't think the numbers were high enough to put him in elite. Kirk Cousins, he was mid as hell. I won't say he was ass because, he was 7-7 when he got benched, so I can't really say he's complete ass. However, those last 4 games that he played, he was absolutely ass. I believe he didn't even throw a touchdown in those last 4 games. I think he had a rushing touchdown, but he didn't throw any. He didn't throw a touchdown. Kyler Murray, mid. Started off really good. I almost want to put him in decent, but he's kind of just mid. I'm not gonna lie. Like he definitely simmered down. And he didn't even throw to Marvin Harrison. He didn't throw to his top receivers. There were a lot of moments where I believe that there were a lot of receivers who were wide open. Were pretty open on these routes, and he just wouldn't throw to them. He wanted to make plays. He wanted to run with the ball, and because of that, I do think that costed the Cardinals maybe a win or two. Lamar Jackson, elite. Absolutely elite. Lamar Jackson is absolutely elite. In fact, I almost want to say he was the best quarterback in football this year, but it's really a discussion. I believe his numbers might have even been better than Burrow's. I believe 40-something touchdowns, less than 9 picks. Less passing yards than Burrow, but it's still led the Ravens to like a 12-5 record, 3 seed. I think they played really well. Unfortunately, lost to the Bills in the playoffs, but I like the Bills, so I really don't have a problem with that. But can't really take that from him. Mark Andrews needed to hold on to the ball, couldn't get that win, but was still really good this year. Stafford, really good. I mean, he's a dog. He's always been a dog. He's been playing since 2009. Like some of y'all weren't even born in 2009. So like the fact that he's been playing that long is insane. Mahomes, he was really good this year. I'm not gonna put him in elite just because of his numbers, and I think definitely started off the year pretty horribly despite the undefeated record. I mean, obviously he's in the Super Bowl. He's, you know, say what you want about the Bills and the Chiefs game, but I mean, you know, he's in the Super Bowl no matter what. So I can't take that from him. He made the Super Bowl, went 15-2, really picked up his stats near the end of the year. He was really good. You know, he wasn't bad at all. Russ was decent. He was alright. You know, I'd put him on about the same level as Justin Fields. Sam Darnold, oh my god. Sam Darnold, what a guy. Really good. He was really good this year. Even though he got first rounded, 14-3, loss in the wild card, you know, for that sort of team is kind of crazy. But he was good. I think, you know, you have Justin Jefferson, you have Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, you have all those guys. They're going to play really well, but he didn't have Hawk or Jordan Addison for a lot of the year, so I actually won't completely put that on him. He still played really good. He threw, I believe, like just under 40 touchdowns, like 10 picks. Was not bad at all. Trevor Lawrence. I don't want to put him in ass. He definitely was mid. I know he dealt with that injury, and I know that wasn't very pleasant with Al-Shaair, and you know he took that concussion. But before that, he wasn't playing that good. I mean, the dude was 2-9, I believe, when he got injured, and Mac Jones came in, didn't get a single win. So what can you really say good about him? I don't think he's really going to step up and actually be as good as everybody thinks he's going to be. I think the Jaguars are just going to be internally mid, and it's not necessarily all of his fault, but I don't think they have a winning culture over there, and I think there's a lot of things that they got to work on. Tua, he was decent. He, again, like Trevor, he dealt with injuries, but I would say he definitely played better, performed better, put up better numbers, and better results. So I can't really put anything against him. I'd say he was decent, you know, like a Rodgers or a Purdy, someone like that. I'd put him in around that category. And finally, because we're not doing JJ McCarthy, Will Levis was ass. I mean, he kind of picked it up near the end, but he was ass, especially in the beginning and the middle. He was absolute ass. I'm not even going to elaborate on that. I'm just going to tell you that. And this is my seasonal quarterback review. I'm going to do this for every position, for the major positions, like the skill groups and all that. Again, I'm back to uploading, hopefully, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess I'll just see you guys in the next one. I'd say this was a pretty good list. See you.